Hey. Today in this video, I want to talk about some of the culture shock I've experienced after moving to Sweden from Japan. I've already made a video about how it's like to study master degree at Stockholm University as a Japanese, but in this video, I want to more focus on daily lives, not only student lives. The things I'm gonna talk about that are not like necessarily like better or worse compared to Japan, but things that I felt very different from what I knew or what I experienced compared to growing up in Japan. Okay, let's start with the first one, healthcare. One of the things that are difficult for me to get used to when I moved to Sweden is healthcare, how difficult it is to actually go to a doctor and see them. In Japan, if I feel sick, like something like stomach ache or some allergy or some headache, anything, I just go find a clinic and I just book and then go either drop in or book. If it's a drop in, maybe you have to wait a little bit, but you can usually see someone on the same day. Also, when it comes to booking, you can usually find the days within few days, maybe sometimes a week, but it's not gonna be far away from the day you book. And that's not how it works at all in Sweden. In Sweden, first you need to call 1177. It is like a medical helpline and you're just gonna describe your symptom, what's the problem to the nurse. Then after the nurse hearing that, they're gonna decide whether you should see a doctor or wait at home or do something else. And the thing is, they usually recommend to just stay at home and then see if the symptom gonna develop. No matter what the symptom is, usually they always recommend you take Alvedon, like painkiller. It's like my boyfriend has sometimes stomach ache and he usually wait until he gonna call 1177. After 3 days, if the symptom is same, he call and they just say, okay, just take Alvedon and then sleep and drink water, stay peaceful and just see if it's gonna go worse or not. After a week, he called again. They try to make booking. Even when they make booking for the doctor, it's usually gonna be in 1 month, except the symptom seems very bad or it looks like it needs like urgent care. You know, like normal fever, headache, stomach ache, you're not gonna go to doctor, you just stay home. I now understand the reasoning behind it, like let your body recover naturally, or they usually don't have enough resource to see everybody who wanna go to hospital. They need to prioritize who really needs the care. But as a person come from Japan, it was very surprised and then it took a time for me to get used to it. I still remember like one time that made me very angry about Swedish healthcare. I think it was like 2 years ago. I had a very strong abdominal pain and I think it was on Saturday or Sunday, but it was weekend. Like normal hospital was closed. It was difficult to breathe. It was difficult to focus on anything. It was difficult to stand. So I went to emergency hospital and there are so many people. But in the entrance, I asked them like, how long do you think I need to wait? And they said maybe like 30 minutes. And I thought 30 minutes gonna be fine. So I waited like more than 1 hour and it looks like they're not gonna call me anytime soon. So I remember telling the staff, I'm in a lot of pain, I really need to something now, but they just responded with, you are standing and you seem fine, so you just need to wait. I was very shocked. It was difficult for me to stand, but just I have much patience, but there was nothing I could do, so I kept waiting. I think I waited for maybe 4 hours in total. When they finally called my name and when I stood up, I just fainted, and it turned out that I had kidney infection, which was pretty sick. It was a little bit traumatizing. It's more like I lost a little bit faith in Swedish healthcare. But when I talk about this incident to my Swedish friend, they just said, but like you need to pretend that you are dying, you need to overact that you really need help, then they may prioritize you to see first. But I think to me, I'm not used to doing that, but it is very difficult for me to do that. And another difference in Swedish healthcare compared to Japanese healthcare is that in Japan, if you want to go to doctor, you just directly go to specialist. But here, you usually go to generalist, and if they think you need some special care, you're gonna be referred to some specialist. It can take some time, very long time. And also, as someone from Japan, I think the dentist here is very expensive. It's unbelievable. You may think it's gonna be included in, like healthcare, but dental care is not included in normal healthcare. So you need to pay a lot of money even when you are covered by insurance. I paid a lot of money for Swedish dental care, so I can talk about a lot, but I can make another video. And now the second thing that surprised me is that how people think about marriage and family in Sweden. So in Japan, there's still very strong expectation that getting married before having kids. Of course, society has been changing, but that's a still norm that many people grow up with. Children born out of wedlock, it's less than 3% in Japan compared to around 50% in Sweden. So you can see the difference here as well. My life in Sweden here as well, I met so many couples who have children but not married, and I actually have my older brother living in Sweden as well. They have 2 kids. They are engaged but they are not legally married, but they still have 2 kids, and I don't think nobody question about it, like asking, oh, why you have kids, you are not married. I don't think people care about if they are married or not when it comes to having or raising kids, at least compared to Japan. I think one of the reasons why it's like that in Sweden is the concept of sambo. Basically, sambo means living together as a couple. Like I have my sambo who I live with, like my partner. The sambo, they have almost same legal protections as married couple. It's not exactly same. For example, inheritance rights, but child allowance, maternity leave, they can get the same rights as married couple. So because of this sambo thing, getting married doesn't change your lives as much as it might in other countries like in Japan. I really like this about Sweden. I feel like there is less pressure to follow specific timeline. I think it's more easy for people to focus on like trying to create a relationship that works for them rather than meeting social expectations. After living here 5 years, my value, like how I think about relationship, marriage, kids, has really changed. I mean, in better ways. I think like when it comes to relationship, marriage, and partnership, kids, there are so many things I can talk about more, but maybe in some other videos. And third things is English fluency. I talk about this in my experience of being student at Stockholm University, but of course I experienced this in daily lives. I knew Swedish people can speak English very well. That's one of the reasons why I chose Sweden to study my master degree. I didn't expect this well. I feel like to me, like they are like native English speaker, English level is that good. I mean, like even children like 6-7 years old can understand and speak English. I met a lot of older people who can speak English very fluently. It's not rare, like there are so many people like that. I often ask Swedish people or my partner why they are that good at English. They say they start watching English content from very early age, and a lot of English content they see, they are not dubbed, so they just watch in English. A lot of people grow up with English movies, YouTube, TV shows, etc. I think I understand if you are exposed to those contents from very early age, like your listening skills can improve a lot. But what I don't understand is why their speaking skills are also very, very good, very confident speaker. We Japanese also start learning English at school from very early age, like elementary school, but not a lot of people end up being good speakers or good listeners. So I think maybe education influence a lot as well in Sweden. Another thing about the Swedish people being so good at English is that it actually can make learning Swedish more difficult. For example, like if you want to practice your Swedish and going to a cafe or restaurant and try to speak in Swedish, but when Swedish people know that you are not that good at Swedish, they just switch to English immediately. I understand communication is much easier and faster in English for them, but sometimes like it's a bit dilemma, like, oh, I want to practice my Swedish. I've already mentioned, but my brother also lived in Sweden too, and he moved before me. When he moved here, he could not speak neither English or Swedish. Their communication was in Japanese, but now he studies in Swedish at Swedish university. And he one time told me that the fact that he could not speak English helped him learn Swedish much faster because he could not use English as his backup or help. He just needed to try only in Swedish when he communicate with other people. And I think he's very right in this. I think sometimes not knowing English might be advantage if you wanna get better at Swedish. And the first thing is Systembolaget. It's state-owned alcoholic stores. I know everyone talk about this, but it was still culture shock to me, so I wanna talk a bit about it. So in Japan, you can buy alcohol almost anywhere. Convenience store, supermarket, department store, and even vending machines in some places. In Sweden, if you wanna buy alcohol, which is more than 3.5%, you only can buy at Systembolaget. If it's less than 3.5%, you can still buy at normal supermarket. And this store is state-owned. It's closed on Sundays, and on Saturday they close on 3 o'clock. So if you go to one of Systembolaget around 2 o'clock on Saturday, you can see so many people line up, or the store is usually crowded. And this is a small thing, but all of the alcohol are sold at room temperature. Non-beer is kept cool. It's just room temperature. I don't know the reason behind it, but I found it very different from Japan. I don't buy a lot of alcohol in general, but when I went back to Japan, for example, last winter, I thought it's very convenient that we could buy alcohol anywhere, anytime in Japan. And the last one is winter. I know everyone who moved to Sweden talk about this, but the darkness in the winter it's a thing I've never experienced in Japan. I thought like before moving here, maybe it's gonna be so cold and that's gonna be the problem, and it's not. The problem is darkness. I remember the first year I moved here, it was still during COVID, so all the classes were online. During winter, it was like hell. I feel like completely drained of energy. I felt very depressed, no motivation at all. You wake up, it's dark. You finish school, it's dark. Sometimes it feels like the entire day has been dark, like no sun at all. During winter, I usually struggle with lack of motivation in general. I don't want to go outside even to meet my friends. I didn't want to socialize and I just wanted to stay home, but it's also didn't help me at all. But you need to survive. So over the years, I learned few things how I can manage better. I usually try to, especially during winter, seeing friends regularly even when I don't want to. Staying active, I try to do at least one exercise every day. Getting outside even when I don't feel like it. It could be just 5 minutes walk, and also try to keep myself busy. I think when you don't have anything to do, it's easier to get depressed. Me and my boyfriend were in Japan last winter, like 3 months we stayed in Japan, December to March. I was surprised at how bright Japanese winter is compared to Swedish one. Bright, sunny, it was very perfect. I really loved it. I wish I could spend every winter in Japan. But also, Japanese winter actually felt colder indoors compared to Swedish winter because Swedish buildings are usually well heated. So when we are indoors, it's very warm, and some people just wear t-shirts. It's like warm for them or hot for them. But when we were in Japan, I needed to wear a lot of layer inside the house all the day. Also thick socks are necessary for me. One good thing is that if you are thinking about moving to Sweden and worrying about the coldness, Swedish winter indoors are very, very warm. You don't have to worry about that. But these are some of the culture shocks I've experienced after moving to Sweden. I mean, there are a lot more, but I cannot talk everything in one video. So maybe I will make part 2. But if you ever lived abroad, if you ever lived in Japan as a foreigner, and found some culture shocks, I would love to know your experiences as well. So please share those in the comments. Hey do!